What's up, everybody? We are the Ducross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. I hope you guys like what we're doing for you guys, and you guys are enjoying the time with your boys, Sean and Trusty Ducross, as you can see behind us. Ducross Brothers, cross the line. That's what we do here. Every Wednesday, we are a combat sports talk show. And in the meantime, just give a quick shout out to our sponsor, I Love Auntie, for all your CBD needs. By all means, go to it. Do what you need to do. Use the promo code DuCrossBros, and you get 10% off. Smith went on over the weekend. Again, we are talking about Anthony Smith, the fight nights, Glover Teixeira. And it was interesting because Glover Teixeira, a lot of rumblings have come out about that and what has transpired over the weekend. And Anthony Smith's corner is being dragged through the mud through everything about what happened, about why they didn't throw anything in, so like the towel in or call for the fight. And that's been the hot topic, like through everybody. Blaming the corner, that the corner should have done this, the corner should have done that. But Anthony Smith has been very vocal since this and wants all the blame to be put on him. And while that may be true, he had one rule to everybody, and that was the fact that he said that the rule is you don't throw in the towel by any means necessary when he is fighting, or else you get fired.
When you go back and you watch that fight, and yeah, you talk about that fact that he said that if at any point in time that they threw the towel, he was going to fire everybody. I get why he said that basically you want to go out on a shield. I get it. But at the same time, is it really worth your livelihood to be put on display for a beatdown as bad as he got put in that fight? Glover Teixeira beat him from the second round all the way to the last round. He beat him bad for 3 rounds. When you beat somebody that bad for 3 rounds, I don't care who you are or what your name is, you pump the brakes, you phone it in, you say it is what it is, and you move on. There's a limit to what your body can withstand. And during that fight, there was a limit of punishment that one individual can take, of uncertainty. When you're losing a teeth, when your face is battered and bruised, when is enough? When you hand a tooth to a referee, when is enough?
And that's another thing, Sean. You're talking about the referee. So the referee of that fight was Jason Herzog. We are very close to Jason Herzog, one of the best refs.
Best in the biz.
Yeah, one of the best in the biz. I don't care what anybody says. Some people like Herb Dean, whatever. But Herb Dean, good at what he does. Herzog, in my eyes, a step above a little bit. What I find very interesting is that he went on to Twitter and gave in an apology.
Yes.
We have always said that the refs in this fight game has always been kind of like in the forefront, but yet not in the best light in the situations that are given to them at hand. What is interesting, though, is that at no point in time do the referees think that they should go on to social media and apologize for what they did. Because I watched the fight. If you are still in the fight, Sean, you are still in the fight, and you are still fighting for 5 rounds. There is no quit. There is no give up. There is nothing. And the referee asks you the one question that they always do. Can you continue? And you as a fighter look at your referee and you say, yes, I can continue. The referee's going to let it continue. I've always said that the doctors there should be a little bit more understanding of what a fight entails and what's going on in a fight. But the doctor there is just a physician, and the doctor there is to just make sure that the cuts don't get bad or something like a broken leg does not happen. That's what they're there for. They're not there to put in their 2 cents about whether you should continue or you shouldn't continue. I think that needs to change to a certain degree. Don't you think that at some point that if you're getting absolutely annihilated, right?
Yeah.
For 5 rounds, you're in a bloody war, top to bottom. You are a shell of yourself when you first started the fight, from where you are now, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round. You should be able to see that fighter start just to go down, right?
Yep.
And as a doctor, you're like, oh my God, this isn't going to be good. There's no good outcome out of this. So as a doctor, being able to see that, I would think that you could play with the parameters. You could do all certain things. You could just do whatever you want with it. I just think that the doctors need to have a little bit more insight in what is going on inside that cage instead of just the bare minimum of a doctor or a ringside physician. Anthony Smith, a warrior, a guy that will go in there, that will put in the time and the effort, has one rule, that if you stop a fight, he will fire you. That's his one rule. He also says that now every coach, every team, every gym, multiple fighters, he says that this is going out to everybody. He does believe that coaches and corners should throw in the towel, save their fighter. Just not his. Because that's his one rule. I get it. I understand it. Because you're a warrior, you're a fighter, you go to battle every single day. I get it. But man, at what cost? At what cost? To me, that is selfish in a way, to put your cornerman in a predicament like that. Why should a corner be put in a position where they have to watch their best friend, maybe a family member, inside the cage, get dismantled over and over again, to the point where you have a broken orbital, you have loose teeth, you've lost teeth? At what point, at what cost, John, do we start looking at the fighter's health and the well-being instead of taking punishment for 5 rounds? Justin Gaethje said it. I would rather die inside that cage before you stop a fight.
Now the question is, are we eventually going to see an actual fighter in mainstream? And I say mainstream, Tristan, just because it's kind of where we're at.
Yep.
But are we going to see a mainstream fighter die in the octagon because he wants to go out on a shield? And I say mainstream because, yeah, you know what? We've seen like boxers die in the ring. We've seen or heard about other fighters passing away. But are we going to see a mainstream person eventually die? Is that what we're going to see?
I think it's very possible.
Says, you know what? Enough's enough. When you have shadiness of judges, which we'll get to here in a few minutes, is there a limit that you're willing to push your body to? You said it best. Is there a limit? There's got to be a limit, right? There's got to be a limit when a referee steps in or when the corner steps in. We know Jason Herzog. Jason Herzog took to Twitter and posted, or Instagram, one of the two, posted the most revealing and honorable post I think any referee has done. And quite honestly, it was the right decision. And I agree with Anthony Smith in saying that Jason Herzog has nothing to apologize for. He's right. Jason Herzog has nothing to apologize for.
Dude, but he should never have gone, he should never felt like he had to go to Twitter and apologize for his actions inside that cage. Never. Man, that should never happen. You should never allow these keyboard warriors, these fanboys to get underneath your skin to the point where you feel like you're obligated to justify your actions inside that cage. You did your job. You did it well. You stopped the fight when you needed to stop the fight. I applaud that man for doing what he had to do. There's too many people that are out there in the Twitter sphere and in social media that would rather slander you, drag your name through the mud, say hurtful things, try to bring you down to their level. Dude, they are nothing to you, man. They don't know you in real life. They don't know what you do in real life. They don't know. Don't allow everybody to get inside you. Some fighters do it too. They allow them to get inside their head. No, forget it. Forget it, Sean. Social media has become such to the point where you are allowed to say whatever you want, be the type of person that you are clearly not in real life. Let it go. The breath of fresh air, the oxygen that you breathe every single day, don't give it to them. You owe it to nobody. As long as you can look at yourself, our saying, we have always said, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and honestly say that you did a good job, guess what, Sean?
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Is at the end of the day, do you enjoy doing what you do? If that's the case, that's the only thing that matters, is that you love what you do. And then when you look across the bow and you talk about loving what you do, what did you think about the Rothwell fight versus OSP?
Oh, dude, that was a good fight.
Was it? Because OSP, I thought for sure had this fight in the bag. And then OSP moved up 35 pounds, Tristan. 35 pounds in this fight to take on Rothwell and moved into the heavyweight bout. And Rothwell used his reach, used his weight advantage to control the pace and make the fight uncomfortable for OSP. So now does OSP stay at heavyweight after this? Because Rothwell used his leverage, used his weight, and everything else during that fight. He basically just used what I classified as the Randy Couture technique. Let's go ahead and just wear down the fighter. Physically get the individual tired to the point that they don't know what to do anymore. Get them completely out of their mind game. And that's exactly what Rothwell did, much to my dismay. I thought for sure OSP was going to come in and have this fight in the back and go, you know what? OSP, bravo for you for jumping up in weight.
But that's the thing with OSP, Sean, is that OSP is the guy that, much like a few fighters, honestly, though, now that I think about it, is that he's really the Jekyll Hyde fighter.
He is. He's one of them in the UFC.
If you get into this mindset about whether you believe you're good enough, but you're not really good enough, that's where you start getting the wishy-washy fighter. And I believe that's where OSP is right now. OSP doesn't really know what weight class he's at, doesn't know what game plan that he can put in. I don't know if that is a camp issue or a fighter issue, but there is something really, really misleading about OSP as a fighter. Because we kind of saw a little bit of it in Donald Cerrone. When the bright lights are on him, he folds. When he gets into his own mindset like he did against the Conor fight, he wasn't really prepared and kind of just let it go, right?
Right.
Kind of like OSP. OSP has so much talent in the world, but yet there's something every single time, depending on the fight, I just don't see it in him. And against Ben Rothwell, this was his opportunity that here's Ben Rothwell, this bigger-than-life guy. And Ben was the guy that said, don't think you're going to come in here and use me as a stepping stone like I'm a pushover because you could come up to heavyweight. And to have a guy like Rothwell that could have really elevated OSP, he just kind of looked lethargic at times against Ben Rothwell. And Ben Rothwell isn't the guy that's going to move quick and fast.
True.
So OSP, everything on paper looked like that this was OSP's for the taking. And he just kind of walked in there and was like, I'm here.
Yeah, and like it was said in the chat room by our guys from Fight Book, is that OSP looked like garbage. He did. How do you go in the first round to going, okay, I see you, to just all of a sudden just getting outworked, outgrind, and just looked outmatched,
Over
outplaced.
and over again.
And it's like, bro, like you don't belong in the heavyweight division. These guys are just too big. And then you flip across the bow and you go to Saturday. From Wednesday to Saturday.
Crazy, right?
And you go to UFC on ESPN 8. And you see, we'll get to the judging aspect here. But to tie in to what you were just talking about, looking outmatched, outplaced. You look at Edison Barboza, who dropped down to 145. I believe it was 145, right? He dropped down in weight. I know that.
Thought he went up in weight.
No, he dropped down in weight.
Either way, he still does not look like...
So when he dropped down in weight for this bout, he did not look drawn out.
No.
He did not look outmatched. He still had his power. He still was crisp. He still was clean. Like, dude, his kicks...
Do you believe he won that fight?
Absolutely. But the thing that made me believe that Edison Barboza could fight in the division that he just fought in was crazy with the fact that he still had his leg kicks followed by with his liver punch. Like his leg kick and then followed with a right hook shot to the liver. Ooh, that was something of beauty when it came to watching Edison Barboza just throw hands. And I was watching that fight, and when I was watching that fight, I was looking at one of my guys, Tristan, and I was like, ooh. He gets a hold of him, and watch, he's gonna bust his guard. He's gonna bust through his guard once he gets the fight down, and he's just gonna do some serious damage. Dude, he was raining down hammer fist, just landing shot after shot. When he got Dan down, I would try to say his last name, but I'm afraid that I'd just butcher it. But he would just get the fighter down to the ground, and he just rained. It just looked like the same Edison Barboza. And then you watch the judging, which again, we'll get to. But that's where the tie-in of the ups and downs of the weight could come into play. But it looked good on Edison Barboza. You go to the main event.
Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. I wanted to see Walt Harris win just for a few reasons. For what he has gone through in like 9 months. To see what he has physically tried to turn himself into. I thought that there was a lot more potential behind Walt Harris after we saw Overeem get KO'd by Rosenik.
And I don't want to take anything away, Tristan, from Walt Harris. I really don't. He's been through a lot. That vignette that they showed of Walt Harris, the video package they showed
leading
of
up
Walt
to
Harris,
it, yeah.
It was great. But with everything going on with the loss of
his daughter,
and you look at that and you look at the fact that we're going through COVID, fighting in front of no fans.
A lot of stuff on his mind.
There's a lot. How much preparation did you have going into this fight? How much comfortability did you have going into this fight?
Because it's such a mind game.
It is.
If you're not 100% inside the cage, ready to rock and roll, you are not going to perform at the level that you're not going to perform that you wanted to perform at.
Yes.
And Walt Harris had an opportunity, finished the fight, and man, dude, it was close to being stopped. It really was.
It was. It was one of those things.
But Overeem, being the veteran that he is, was able to survive it, weather the storm, and come out on top.
Absolutely. And the way that he weathered that storm, the sprawl that he did to get out of it, to get away from his back, to get back to his feet. That was something you don't see too much from Overeem. And the fact that Overeem is now starting to mature as a fighter this late in his career could be troublesome for a lot of heavyweights. Can you imagine if he gets another contender shot and he faces like a guy like Daniel Cormier, a guy like Steve Miocic, if they give him a title shot? The laundry list is long.
I would like to see a redemption fight for Overeem before he gets to a title. I want to just make sure I got my double eye seeing glasses on, because I want to see him versus Derek Lewis, because him and Derek Lewis have been taking shots at each other on social media.
Run it back.
And talking about, well, Overeem doesn't like his stupid sense of humor. And then Derek Lewis is talking, well, dude, you got knocked out by Rosenick.
Right.
So what are you talking about? Cool, you knocked out Walt Harris, but you still lost to the guy that got knocked out in like 10 seconds flat that looked like he was dead against the cage.
Oh, my goodness.
So, see Derek Lewis, because of the rankings, you put Overeem versus Derek, make that a title eliminator, and then whoever wins gets a title shot.
Yeah.
I think that's where you go next for Overeem.
I can completely get behind that, Tristan. But one thing I could not get behind is the fact that
his chin was tested this time.
Yeah, and it failed him. It failed him. He just got lucky that he had endurance and was able to get through it.
His chin wasn't as horrible as it was before.
Tristan, that was put on his chin and he got dropped. He's just like
he took a couple other shots too.
He just
and
didn't
he still
go
stayed there.
night-night.
Right.
But other people that should go night-night is apparently the judges went night-night during the whole event. Like, you go from UFC 249
what are we
the
doing?
week before.
Right.
You go to UFC on ESPN Plus 28 or 29, depending on which way you want to look at it, apparently. Then you go to UFC on ESPN 8, which was actually on Plus, simulcast on ESPN, I guess. But I was watching it on Plus, so I don't really know anymore. It was ridiculous of a weekend. But you look at that, and you look at the judges as if they had pillows and they were sleeping. Because they awarded Claudia Gadelha the win over Angela Hill, which I don't know how. Because the first round went to Claudia. Okay, I give you that. But then the last two rounds, I gave definitively to Angela Hill because she stole the second round. Because I believe that's the round in which she knocked down Claudia Gadelha and just went to work.
I still think 29-28 was Angela Hill.
29-28, I can see that. Split decision, though.
Yes.
Split decision, Angela Hill.
But her favor.
And then you look across, and then you look at Dan over Edison Barboza. I had Edison Barboza winning that fight. Again, it was weird because it seems like the judges were seeing one round completely definitively for one fighter, and then there was an iffy round, and then there was a round for another fight.
And it seemed to be like a continuous thing throughout the event.
Of their viewing, of their expectations, of what they were seeing. And they awarded Dan a 29-29 or 29-28, 29-28 split decision win over Edison Barboza. Now, we all know that Edison Barboza is that he's going back to the drawing board and he's going to dispute this split decision.
And he should.
But again, it was the first two rounds were Barboza. The last round was Dan.
And see,
so they gave an iffy round to Dan again.
But see, I went back and I actually rewatched that one fight because that one fight I was just dumbfounded. I couldn't figure out how Inge won that fight over Edison Barboza. So while I was walking back, and one of my notes right here was saying that Barboza lost via decision where he should have won 29-28. How he lost was a late takedown got him the win. Okay. That's it. That was my only distinct note that I could have from the fight that swayed the judges from point A to point B. That was the only one that I could figure out that I was like, what fight were they watching? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, nope, Edison, nope, Edison, nope, Edison, nope, Edison. All the way to the last round. And with the late takedown, it was like as if everything else did not matter. They saw the takedown and that was it. So one takedown trumps all the other action that you saw that was coming forth. That was it. Nothing else mattered.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't understand how you could do that, Tristan.
No.
Then they won. So that was your biggest issue. One of my biggest issues that when I was watching this fight, I looked at one of my guys and was like, wait, what just happened? And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I don't know. I'm confused. I I'm hoping I didn't hear the judges' scorecards, but by the celebration of Song won the fight.
Yes.
Marlon Vera, aka Chito Vera, lost to Song via unanimous decision. Worst one of the night.
Hands down, worst one.
Worst one of the night. One of the worst ones of the night. Because how does Song win 29-28, all three judges, when Chito Vera dominated him on his feet
and on the ground?
It was one of the easiest judges that I had, that I could view, that was like, yo, dude, Chito just whooped this guy's butt from start to finish. There was a good exchanges, like towards the third round. There's a really good exchange. In the first round, there's a really good exchange.
Not enough to warrant a 29-28 scorecard for Song.
No, because during the exchange in the first round, the first round still ended with Chito winning that round.
It's literally like these referees, Sean, that I was watching. These referees were like, as if it was a boxing fight. What happens in a boxing fight when you hear that 10 seconds?
Yeah.
You throw a mass flurry and leave the indent and the impression in the mind of the judges. So you could do absolutely nothing. But the judges' short-term memories like this, see action at the end, well, that's all they saw because that's all they remember in that short window of time.
So at the end of this event, it leaves a lot of people questioning. It's like, well, should judges be judged themselves for the outcome in which they put forward during sports, whether it be boxing or combat? It really doesn't matter about what sport, because it's been an ongoing issue in all sports where judges failed to judge criteria correctly.
And you were having a debate on Cited about this. And what are some of the comments that have been going on? I know that people are kind of like a little bit indifferent on what can and cannot be done at this point.
So my questions to everybody was, should they be reviewed after the event by a second party, more training, or other? And I had one individual that said that we should give them the benefit of the doubt and start doing it with more education. And if that doesn't work, then resort to a second party. Then should they be reviewed by a second party, which is where most people went. They should be held accountable for majority. And mind you, I've had over 40 people that have done this. So majority of the people view that judges should be reviewed by a second party. Replays are in most of other sports. There should be an oversight. Refs should be judged also, which I thought was interesting. Those were a couple of the feedback that I got.
Live scoring was
live
mentioned.
Scoring was another one, like CompuBox.
Yep.
That was another one. It
was also mentioned in our chat too.
But the thing that I have is, while a lot of sports have instant replays, there was talks that mixed martial arts was going to bring in monitors to do replays for scoring. But that doesn't seem like that's happened, because in every event that I've been to or you've been to,
there's talks, but there's no movement.
So how can we put live scoring effectively into this? Because the idea of live scoring that was being talked about was like at Invicta was that they're going to put it up on a Jumbotron, and then what you score, then at the end of the day, you watch that and go, oh, okay, well, I got to go all out here. But I don't think that necessarily should be the case, because if the guy's actually winning the fight, but your stat says you're losing the fight, doesn't that maybe pose another issue or question again still about the judging?
I also think that there might be a little bit of an issue because I still think even with live scoring, you still run into the same issue that we kind of run right now, that if you're still live scoring and a judge sees it one way versus another judge seeing it another way, you're still going to get these similar issues. What is very interesting, though, is that we already have a fan version of this. MMA decisions, you could do live scoring, and you can put it out there to see who actually wins. There's still a lot of variables that need to be implemented for that to make sure that everything still goes according to plan. I just think we need to take a stronger look at judging criterias, because we have a lot of people in CSAC and in Camel that we've spoken to a lot at length about, you know, what declares a 10-8 round, what declares a 10-9 round, what are you looking for, what are you seeing? The fact that when you're a judge, you can't see certain corners, so you lose focus, lose certain depth focus inside the cage, that becomes an issue. So while I like live scoring, I think monitors first so you can see what we're seeing, what fans are seeing, what everybody sees in a fight. Give them every opportunity to be able to score the fight the way that they see it, not from an angle they see it. Make sense?
Makes sense.
We are the new Cross Brothers Sports Warriors. We're going to come back out of this break, and we're going to talk about the dark side of the ring. And man, it was a tough one. Not going to lie. But we are the New Cross Brothers. I'm Tristan New Cross. Along my side, as always, is my partner in crime, the one and only Sean New Cross. We're the New Cross Brothers. Cross the line. Come on over. Smash the like button. Share us. Love us. And we'll be right back. We are the New Cross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. Sean and Tristan New Cross, a combat sports talk show where we take you inside our mind and into the world of combat sports talk. Where we take headlines and give you previews on martial art events all around the world. We are the New Cross Brothers every Wednesday right here.
You know, before we get into the Owen Hart thing, I just want to say it's like, that's a good thing to hire fighters as judges and refs. If they were to hire fighters and refs as judges and refs, I think that would go a long way. On the ref side, I think especially judges.
But we
already see some fighters, former fighters, as referees, and we see how well that goes. So I can kind of see the judges. There should be criteria met for that. But yeah, so I agree with that one. But man, Dark Side of the Ring ended on a freaking high note for their season.
Hopefully it was a big rating booster for them.
I don't think they have any issues with ratings. I really don't. But it was about as hard to watch as the Chris Benoit one was. Because like I'm sitting there and I'm watching it.
I remember it. You remember it?
Absolutely. And the funny thing though that you say we remember it, because I was trying to remember it. Because it was in '99 when he passed.
Yes.
And
Over the Edge pay-per-view.
Yep. And when we watched that, I don't think we watched it.
I think you were out of the loop in wrestling.
No,
not yet.
That was during the era of when he was the Blue Blazer,
yep.
and weird things started to happen with his character, where the whole thing of Nugget came into play. Remember that?
Yes.
Nugget. When people were walking around calling people nuggets and stuff like that, that was because of Owen Hart. But no, I was sitting there and I'm watching that with Fallon, and I'm sitting there. Fallon's my wife, and I'm sitting there.
Did she like it?
And she was like, she came in kind of towards the end of it.
Okay.
So I was just more or less talking out the scenario with her, trying to replay the moment. And I wanted to say that the moment that it was, we didn't get the pay-per-view. I'm almost 99% sure we did not get the pay-per-view. But what I think it was the era of which you can manipulate pay-per-views. Like you had that little black box and you can manipulate the pay-per-views. I want to say it was around that time. All I remember is vaguely remembering, and maybe our dad can shed some light on it, and maybe we'll find out more after this. But what I remember, and again, this could be wrong, but this is just my telling of the story, is that Owen Hart fell. We heard about it. We quickly saw it. I want to say it was a fuzzy, grainy video.
Yep.
But we didn't know what we saw. All we remember hearing is JR's voice in the situation, just like what they were airing on Dark Side of the Ring.
And when Jerry Lawler took off and ran.
So
threw off his headset and ran.
All I remember that. And then I think I remember running out to our dad and saying, Dad, something happened to Owen. And he's like, what do you mean something happened to Owen? Like, I don't know. Something doesn't seem right. And I was telling Fallon that. That's what I vividly remember
about that situation.
Yep. Then I went somewhere and I looked up something, and I remember seeing a video. I guess it wasn't from WWF at the time, because on Dark Side of the Ring, WWF and Dark Side of the Ring said there was no video footage aired on Over the Edge pay-per-view.
Of the fall, yeah.
But I remember finding the video.
Yes.
Of that you see
of like a grainy, of a grainy video,
down,
like as if it was a cell phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of Owen falling down.
Dude, his last words, according to eyewitnesses, was "Look out."
Yes.
Like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that, because you're falling 100 feet and your last words were "Look out."
Yeah, 78 feet is exactly what he fell. And his chest impacted the top turnbuckle, and basically he died instantly. And you're watching this story, and it's just like, how do we even get here?
Like, they try to... This is what I like about Dark Side, because a lot of the Dark Side features, they go really in depth. Some, they kind of leave out little bits and pieces of it.
Well, that's the thing I liked about this one, Tristan.
They really kind of, like, the ones that had a story, right?
Yeah.
The ones that had a narrative that needed to be told was told so eloquently that it was so amazing that you have the family members still to this day talking about a scary situation that led to this. And to think about this, we've heard horror stories about Vince McMahon and what he has been capable of doing, cutting short, going the short way, and paying off people. We've heard all the stories. Good, bad, and different. What you should never have done was cut corners and cut costs when you have a man's life in the balance. John, how is that right?
I completely agree.
You're expecting a performer who is already uneasy, who doesn't like heights, who is scared. You cut corners with a man's life on the line.
But yet he trusted the people that they had the best interest. They just did it the night before. They just did it a couple nights before.
With a different carabiner.
Yeah, with a different harness setup. Absolutely.
Like, you're doing a test run with the harness and the carabiner that you're supposed to use, and you change it at the last minute. How can you do that? How can you leave somebody's life that meant the world to so many people, just think that it was okay to do something like that, cut corners and cut costs? Never should you risk somebody's life for a payday, and the fact that you still went on. A man died in your ring, and you kept continuing.
And the interesting thing about the carabiner issue that you talk about was normally that was used was a locking carabiner.
Yep.
Which was typical for climbers. And then on top of that, they went to a guy
They used one
named Talbert that used a line that had, I guess, a pulley cord.
Yep. And they said, whatever you do, don't pull it.
To release it. But he didn't pull it.
No.
What happened was his cape got caught.
Yep.
That was it. Cape got caught, pulled it, he fell. Whose fault? Do you blame Owen for believing and trusting his life was in the hands of Vince McMahon and everybody else in the WWF?
All wrestlers, show must go on. We watched, Sean, you watched the Undertaker documentary.
I'm about halfway through or more into the second one.
Sean, and what was Undertaker saying? What did Undertaker say? What was the one thing that he said as being the judge in the WWE? That it doesn't matter if you're broken, battered, bruised, can't walk to the ring, as long as you can perform, you have one thing to do. Don't make Vince look stupid.
Yeah.
All wrestlers apparently felt like that. Owen was no different. Owen did everything that was asked upon him and then some.
Because he had the biggest heart ever.
Because he wasn't charismatic like his brother, or couldn't carry a microphone and an audience. They put him back in the blue blazer outfit because he was able to be a character.
But see, Tristan, when they made that reference on Dark Side of the Ring, it's like, I always thought that Owen was charismatic. I always thought Owen just had to find his way. And
could you imagine if he made it to the era of the Attitude Era?
Yeah, like Jericho said, where he could have
fought so people that were like him.
But then the WWF changed and altered their way of going and put him back in the blue blazer after his brother left to WCW. You can't help but think that was a little bit of a shot, if you will, at his brother for leaving for greener pastures for WCW. You can't help but think that because he was trending up when his brother was there. He was having a run of his life. There were so many different storylines that were going on in that time frame. The danger gimmick that he was doing, and people were calling him the Nuggets, and he's like, I'm not a Nugget. Cutting those promos, and the one guy coming out with a fake nose and stuff like that during one of his gimmicks, where
he did everything that was asked upon him.
So it was a sad feeling, but at least it was told, and was told Martha Hart's way and nobody else's way.
I do agree with them in the notion that he is to never go into the WWE Hall of Fame. At first, when I heard that story, before I saw the Dark Side of the Ring, I heard that underneath no circumstances would Owen Hart ever step foot inside the WWE Hall of Fame. And I was like, why not? This man did everything that he was supposed to do. Hall of Famer. I mean, probably one of the best wrestlers that you could possibly ever see. And I'm talking about a wrestler, not an entertainer. He did what he was supposed to do. And all I could think of is that I was like, man, you should. But then they're like, why? You're going to glorify him. Give the WWE there you go. Good job, guys. But then they're like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to allow WWE to be okay with this. We are going to create our own foundation. The Owen Hart Foundation, which is for all single moms. We will carry on the Owen Hart legacy the way that we see fit. The way that he would want it to be, because he was a family man. Never wanted to be in wrestling for a long time. And we have heard all the stories about wrestling being like a mafia. That if you are in, man, it is hard to get out, right? So Owen Hart always wanted to have a shorter career so he could go back home and be with his family.
After watching this Dark Side of the Ring, it made me want to think about, like, I'm not a big book reader. I hate reading books. Like, my attention span sucks. But it has me interested to read Martha Hart's book, Broken Hearts. Read more about this story. Read more about what type of person Owen Hart was. It piqued my interest.
Absolutely. I'm curious. But where the two Cross Brothers are going to come out of here. We got a little bit of boxing talk, some more wrestling news, as well as Tyrone Woodley main event. We will see right after this break with the Ducross brothers, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
So we are the Sports Warriors, Sean and Tristan Ducross. We're here every Wednesday. We talk about combat sports from MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, even now bringing you the world wrestling entertainment of professional wrestling, whether it be WWE, AEW, or whatever wrestling topics are out there right now. Your boys, the Ducross brothers, are going to bring it to you guys. But next up on hand, time to bring a little boxing.
We actually got some news about boxing, and man, I'm kind of surprised at how many boxing events are kind of right now in the wings, and then people are talking about. You got Mikey Garcia coming back. You have Teofimo Lopez and Loma finally on the books. They're talking. They might have a home. And they might have a fight in September?
Yeah, that was one thing that is Bob Arum is aiming for a September fight, maybe in Vegas, if they get the all clear. I mean, September is still a long time away. I believe that we will see this fight, and it's a good page to take out of what the UFC did. The UFC came back guns blazing with UFC 249 for the fans to draw their interest on pay-per-view. The only way for boxing to come back is to do the similar thing. So what bigger bout would be to bring back would be Loma versus Teofimo Lopez.
I really love the fight because when I saw Teofimo Lopez, and I'm trying to figure out who can match up stylistically against Loma, and him being just the Matrix guy, the baddest dude on the planet, in his weight division, Lopez really is the only one, if you think about it, that is left standing in front of him that could give him a fight.
Well, because Lopez has been calling out Loma since he won his last fight in what? I think it was December?
Yeah.
He's been calling him out. So, it's got to be the right fight. It's got to be the right time. So, when you're looking at everything else that's going on in boxing, this is the right decision. The right fight. It'll be for the lightweight title, and it'll be a unification bout against Loma. Just sign on the dotted line, guys, and let's go to war. Many people want to see this fight, and trust me, people are going to pay for it.
Absolutely. You want to talk about paying for it? How about the Paul brothers? Calling out Dillon Danis, and Dillon Danis is like, bro, I'm being offered $4 million, between $4 and $5 million, and they're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Nobody knows who you are except for being Conor McGregor's lackey. The only people, the Kahib incident, that's the only reason why people know who you are. Your stand-up is weak, and we can beat you. Jake Paul is the one that's right now is like poking the bear on, again, seems to be a common theme.
The new way, social media.
Take it to social media, poke the bear, and see if you can get a fight. Logan Paul has a fight a rematch that's going to happen at Staples Center in front of no fans. November 9th in the Staples Center, the rematch against KSI, says that he would be willing to take the fight inside of a cage against Dillon after that fight, unless you want to fight Jake Paul first. Jake Paul calls out his girlfriend, Savannah, saying, well, I slept with her. Go ahead, ask her. My whole thinking about this is that it comes back to this dumb thing that is going on right now, is that 6ix9ine has his own song out, and I had to write it down, was that you are mad, I'm back. Big sad. He's mad, she's mad, big sad. Don't care, stay mad. That's exactly what I think the Paul brothers are doing to Dillon Danis. Right now, you acting big sad because they are doing everything that you can do. Are you
seriously quoting 6ix9ine song?
Yep.
You are the weirdest individual I think I've ever met. I cannot believe you're quoting his song right now.
See it in your face, crybaby bitch, big sad.
Dude, no. No.
Tell me that doesn't fit it. That's exactly what they're doing. They're like, you're just big sad. That's exactly what the Paul brothers are doing.
Next thing I'm going to do is watch you do a TikTok video for Big Sad.
Nope. But Jake Paul should. Jake Paul, I know you have a TikTok. Logan Paul has a TikTok. I know both of you guys have TikToks.
Did you see the Logan Paul TikTok where he did a bunch of things on toilet paper and then his dog jumped in the toilet paper and he got so mad and then he fell off a ladder and then freaking fell into toilet paper and then he took the toilet paper roll out his...
Bro, it's the Paul brothers. That's what they do. That's what they're all about.
But hey, I was surprised by this. AEW Double or Nothing 2 is this weekend.
Yes. The 25th.
I did not notice that. One of the big pay-per-views of AEW, and it's going down this weekend. You'll see Mox versus Brody Lee for the world title.
What's the point?
Cody versus Archer for the TNT title.
And your new TNT champion.
The Inner Circle versus the Elite in a stadium stampede.
We barely saw them fight in the stadium. Now they're actually going to go into a stadium. I'm so confused with AEW right now. I'm so confused.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do Brody Lee versus Mox.
Brody Lee has done nothing for me in AEW, except he looks like a big giant. Yeah, big giant. That's about it.
Cody and Archer will probably be a good fight. But to me, the outcome in that is apparent. It's Cody's going to win the TNT title because it's TNT. Inner Circle versus the Elite. I'm confused about how we got here because we were supposed to have the War Games versus the Elite.
Yeah, and we have had the War Games.
But yeah, we're going to have a Stadium Stampede match.
Right.
Against the Elite. But yet we haven't seen the Young Bucks. We've seen occasionally Kenny Omega with Matt Hardy. But we haven't seen Adam Page.
There's a lot of, I don't know.
We haven't seen a lot of people. So hopefully tonight on AEW, the Go Home show for AEW Dynamite on Double or Nothing, we're going to see the return of Adam Page, who's been living in the woods, getting his drink on, and enjoying his life outdoors. The Young Bucks. Hopefully we see them all return tonight for the Go Home show to set the stage for what's coming up.
How many times? This is where I get confused. How many times are we going to see Matt Hardy change from Matt Hardy to Damascus to broken Matt Hardy to version 1 Matt Hardy?
Right? Or the fact that it takes him like 15 minutes to change into his garb, then come out. So meanwhile, you're letting Kenny Omega, and this was on the last AE Dynamite, you're letting Kenny Omega get beat bad.
Because you have to do a wardrobe change.
And then it allows him to fight back while Matt Hardy's nowhere to be found. Okay? Matt Hardy gets thrown into an ice chest, disappears for 20 minutes,
Comes back out as Matt Hardy. Or the masochist, whatever. I'm confused with that whole broken Matt Hardy situation. I really am. Undertaker's documentary, episode 3.
If you've got the WWE Network, this is a cheap plug. We don't get paid for it, but
no,
dude, check it out.
Absolutely.
I've been watching it.
I'm happy that you're watching it. Really am.
It's been interesting.
Proud Big Brother moment.
I watched it last night, and I started watching Chapter 2 this morning. I'm about 45 minutes into Chapter 2.
We are the new Cross Brothers Sports Warriors here every Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoy. Click the go to iloveanti.com. Use promo code DoCrossBros, and you can save yourself 10% on all your CBD needs, from CBD rubs, CBD oils, you name it, they got you covered. ESPN Plus, use promo code DoCrossBros and save 10%. In the meantime, we are the Ducross Brothers. Tristan Ducross, Sean Ducross. We are signing off until next time. Smash the like button. Share the video. Love you guys. See you until next time.
Ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now, the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.